Hi everyone. I started scrolling through YouTube and I saw this video. The thumbnail warns everyone to take cover, take shelter. And the title says Marines storm LA after Newsom threatens Trump. Arrest me. Tom Homan responds. It is such a horrible thing with these riots. I'm all for protests. I do my silent little protests that just satisfies me. But, I understand people don't like things that are going on, so they protest. Protest shouldn't block or stop anyone for doing their job or block or stop life saving services like ambulances. There should be no violence. There should be no destruction. No car bombs, no setting things on fire. There shouldn't be any of that. These aren't protests. And I call them riots, but they're way more than riots. It's really like a war zone. It's not right. Why are you destroying your town? And it's not everyone in that particular town that does it. The Democrats and the elites, and I believe a ton of rhinos are involved in that. They pay people to come in. They're supplying them with like gas masks and why are you doing this? Why are you destroying this country? It makes no sense. It just doesn't. So let's watch this video. It's by a guy named Ron Yates, Ronyates. Let's check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. Marines, yes, freaking Marines, real deal, combat ready U.S. Marines, they're already rolling into the streets of Los Angeles. Not because of an earthquake, not because of a foreign invasion, but because American citizens have just turned violent. Chaos has erupted over immigration raids. Federal officers have been assaulted. Protesters are now blocking highways. They're burning U.S. flags and they're setting cities on fire. So, what did California Governor Gavin Newsom do about it? Well, he didn't call for calm. He didn't thank law enforcement. In fact, this guy, Governor Gavin Newsom, he dared President Trump to arrest him. That's right, guys. On live camera, Gavin Newsom shouted to the nation, "Come and get me. Arrest me." Let me know if y'all think that Trump should actually go after Gavin Newsom and
He should. He should go after any mayor, congressperson, senator. If his family members were doing this, go after them. You don't do this. Innocent people are getting hurt and people feel like, well, that's okay, it's all for a good cause. No, it's not. What good cause is there to put innocent people's lives in danger? I can't even think of something that would warrant that. These sanctuary cities are destroying themselves along with the illegals. And they are illegal. You have to come into this country the proper way. Now, I will say, I've taken several tests online that are supposed to be similar to the citizenship. I'm sorry, my mouth is still messed up. The citizenship test. And I love history. I love finding out about things that happened in the past. But those tests I couldn't pass. Majority of Americans could not pass these tests. And we live here, we were born here. I'm going to be 54 years old next month. I cannot pass the citizenship test. So, why are these tests given to illegals who didn't live here? I don't even know why the citizenship test is about history. All it really should be is you come here, you go through the legal process, you get these are just my thoughts. Like a legal working permit, you go get a job, you pay it sounds bad, but you pay taxes. You show you want to be a law abiding citizen in this country after a year. No anchor babies, no oopsies, no nothing. And then, sort of like a marriage, you sign a contract, you're sworn in, and then you go living your life as an American citizen. But this stuff, and while I do believe a lot of good, decent people came across the borders that were looking for a better life for them and their family, I do believe that's happened. But you came here illegally, and it really is shitty that our government at the time was telling you it's okay, come, come, come. But the laws were never changed. So even though they were telling you come, 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 it wasn't legal. And that's horrible. Trump said these countries were going to empty out their prisons, their nut houses, everything, and send the people here. Everybody said Trump was an idiot. He didn't know what he was talking about. But what did the countries do? Exactly what he said they were going to do. And right now, and even before this happened, we were overwhelmed. We should not have any homeless on the street. None. Especially our children, our elderly, our veterans. Not even especially. Nobody should be living on the street. It's really like Could you afford not to take them in, but could you afford extra people in your house? No. Even before this happened, we could not take care of our own people. So, how could we let other people in? We are so completely overwhelmed, and now we're overrun. And our cities are becoming war zones. And it's not only the illegals doing it, it's our own people because a lot have been brainwashed. A lot of are just mad. A lot have mental problems and they're going out and they're doing this stuff. And the people who are in charge, it really is like the nuts are in charge of the insane asylum. Now, there are governors and senators and congress people and whatever, people in public offices, mayors, they are trying to do good. There are some, but they're overwhelmed too. I have a friend in Jersey who keeps saying Trump isn't doing enough. Eggs are still too high. He's only one person. He has to go through other people to get things done, and not everything he wants to get done is a good idea. But no matter who tries to help by being president, like they keep saying Trump's not going to make it till the end of his term and JD Vance is going to have to take over. Even if JD Vance takes over, it's putting a tiny baby band aid on a giant gaping wound. And the baby band aid helps that teeny tiny area for only so long. And the wound just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And everyone, the elites, the Democrats, the rhinos, the brainwashed, they want us all at odds fighting. Because if we're all at odds, they get to do the bullshit they want to do. The divide is crazy. And this is why a lot of people say there was no racism in this country. A lot of white people say that. Why? Because they weren't doing it and they weren't seeing it. They would say hi to their neighbors no matter what color. We used to have block parties. My neighborhood was basically Polish and Hispanic. There were some Italians thrown in here and there. I remember when a black family moved into the neighborhood, we had block parties. In the 80s, it was you could go over to your neighbor's table, bring over a six pack or a tray of food, and just sit there and talk, listen to music. It didn't matter what you were, it didn't matter what you looked like. The kids would all play in the street because the streets were blocked off. No traffic could come down. Now, the music would blast until like midnight, and as I got older, I didn't like that. There were times the streets were blocked off for, I call them flea markets, but they were actually gate sales. That doesn't happen anymore. Kids don't play in the street anymore. Now, I didn't like when the kids would play baseball, stickball, and whatever they were doing, they'd hit the windows and windows broke. But kids don't play anymore. Kids can't trick or treat anymore. We have all these problems. How can we take on more problems? And the government at the time made the choice to do this for whatever their reasons were, and the country suffered more. Not just whites suffered, not just blacks suffered, not just Hispanics suffered, not just Asians suffered. Everyone is suffering more than ever. And then you add on these war zones. Now they're telling people take cover because the Marines are coming in. This is necessary. They're talking about sending in the army, and then you got this one army woman who's a dope saying Trump is playing with people's lives. He doesn't have the right to send in the army. Are you there? Is your family in danger? Is your city or your town in danger? Do you even care? This stuff needs to stop. Like with the block parties, it used to be a thing. People in the neighborhood would sit on the stoops, and when kids played on the block, it's like all the adults who were sitting on the stoops would watch the kids. And if they did something wrong and their parents weren't around, hey, 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 get out of the street. Don't do that. It was really like the whole village got together to take care of everyone. Now people are locked in their houses because they're afraid. You even have riots started just because of something like, "What'd you say to me, motherfucker?" It's not right. And every time something good happens, it's like the elites, the brainwashed, the Democrats, the rhinos, all this stuff is like, oh, that's going good. Let's mess it up. And with this, Gavin Newsom lied and said Trump never called him. But there are call logs to prove they were on a call for, I think they said 16 minutes. What were they, just shooting the breeze? What was Trump saying? You should wear like this, like he's wearing now. You should wear a red tie like me, like I do. It really makes a statement. No, he was talking about the problems that Gavin Newsom was lying about, saying it was all peaceful protests, like the Black Lives Matter riots. Those aren't peaceful protests, and people were killed. Innocent people. And no, not just white people, people of every color. It's not right. And our cities are being destroyed, our homes are being destroyed. And the people who are in charge are allowing it to happen. Wasn't there just a whole bunch of wildfires that just before they happened, California canceled the insurances? Or something like that. You can go look it up. But why? It's literally like these governors, these mayors, Democrats, whatever, sanctuary cities feel like this is my turf and I'll destroy it if I want just to get rid of you. Why are you destroying stuff? And then you say the good people of this state will vote for me again. Like douchebag Andrew Cuomo? It's enough. It's just enough. Let's continue with the video.
Actually arrest him? Let me know in the comments, guys. Now, today, Tom Homan, former ICE director and national security bulldog, just responded, and he's not mincing words at all. So in today's video, you guys are going to see how, or more importantly, the why behind these 700 Marines were activated under President Donald J. Trump. You're going to hear the exact moment that Gavin Newsom threw gasoline on the fire and dared the federal government to come after him. And then, of course, I'm going to break down exactly what Tom Homan's response was. This was really one that sent shockwaves through Washington, D.C. and Sacramento, California. He says, he says this isn't a political stunt. He says it could cross the legal line. What do y'all think, guys? So here's the real kicker. Gavin Newsom isn't backing down. In fact, he's suing the Trump administration, accusing the president of violating California's sovereignty. And he's claiming this is all just a smokescreen for authoritarianism.
Gavin Newsom, like most Democrats, are bold-faced liars. Bold-faced liars. We see what's going on. There's no serenity in California. I just said in a chat last night, okay, there's an actress and singer named Cher. I love her music, I love her movies, but she's another dope. Trump is racist. He wants to keep people out of America. He's racist. Blah, 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 blah. She was all for illegals coming in, but when they started coming into her part of town and she saw what they were doing, she said, oh no, not my town. Well, where did she want them to go? In Italy, immigrants stormed George Clooney's mansion and took it over. We have people in America claiming squatters' rights. They find an empty house, which is actually up for sale by the landlord. They move in, they get to live there, they get to destroy it, and it can take years to get them out. There is so much wrong with this country, and this douchebag Newsom says Trump is just trying to destroy the serenity of California. And people don't trust the mainstream news for anything other than the weather, because you can even check the Doppler radar online with several different sites. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. There is a script they read off. There was a guy named Tommy Sotomayor. Well, he's still around. Tommy Sotomayor. And he was sent a video once. This was way, 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 way before COVID. And it showed all the mainstream news channels, all different people, all different channels, speaking in unison every word. Like the cat jumped over the moon. They were all saying till it became like one voice. The cat, the cow jumped over the moon. The same exact words. Reporters don't use all the same words, but this was like a brainwashing tactic. I did a video where the reporter was putting her own feelings into it. You're not supposed to do that. As a journalist or as a reporter, you're supposed to just report the facts. Now, there are certain ones who, after reporting the facts, because of their column or their show or their program or whatever, they can give their opinion after that. But you have to say the facts. And they're not doing it. There is a paper trail and a money trail that leads right up to The View, that TV show with Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Houston and Joy Behar. They're getting paid to push the elite's propaganda. There's proof. Whoopi received millions of dollars to keep pushing the bullshit. She's not for our country, she's for feathering her own pockets. And since she got that money and no one's taking it back for her from her, I say her social security should be forfeited. Oh no, she's a black woman who worked hard in the industry and blah blah blah. She's a black woman who caused problems in the industry. Remember when she was dating Ted Danson? She convinced him to dress in blackface and go to a party. That it would be okay. That was a setup. Why would she do that? Her daughter gave birth to her grandchild at 14 years old. How? And if I remember correctly, the guy was not 14. He was way older. So you had all this money from your movies. You didn't take a break in Hollywood to make sure your daughter was okay. And you sold out the American people for millions of dollars. During the Black Lives Matter riots, now remember that was during COVID. People weren't supposed to be out except essential workers, which, by the way, never got heroes pay for working in the liquor stores and the grocery stores, everything that the government deemed was necessary. They never got heroes pay. But during the riots, there were piles of bricks and wood and incendiary devices just piled up in a nice, neat pile for the rioters to take and start destroying buildings. How did that happen? You had a guy from the mainstream media. I want to say he was from CNN, but I don't know. He's saying, well, most of the protests have been majorly peaceful. Meanwhile, there's a raging fire behind him. People are running back and forth. You can hear the screams. And that was on live TV. People need to wake up, and those of us who can go and stop this stuff are not doing it. This is all ridiculous.
Woo, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Meanwhile, you got federal sources are saying that these riots were triggered by ICE agents busting a major cartel-backed money laundering scheme. Guys, these weren't random arrests. They got gang members, sex offenders, and one of the most illegal traffickers in the country. And I think you guys probably remember his name, right? Let me know if you remember his name from the previous video in the comments down below. But instead of celebrating all of this, protesters, they lit fires, they shut down freeways, they threw bricks at law enforcement, and
This is peaceful. These are the law enforcement officers. These are the so called peaceful protesters. Majority of people in this country cannot afford a dozen eggs. But yet a lot of them are coming up with gas masks.
now, Tom Homan, his warning is very clear. No one is above the law. Not governors, not mayors, not protest leaders. So if you cross the line, there
Yes.
will be consequences. Now, later in this video, I want to share with you guys Gavin Newsom's viral meltdown. Guys, I also want to break down the legal basis for the troop deployment, how President Trump's White House is actually preparing for this lawsuit against Gavin Newsom. And of course, I want to share with you guys the shocking protest that just happened inside of Trump Tower. Yeah, this war just went national. So if you guys appreciate the daily news updates, please take a second, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Guys, this is not about left versus right anymore. No, this is way bigger than that. This is about whether
Yes.
the law still means anything. You know, whether the military should be used on U.S. soil and whether a governor can literally challenge a sitting president to arrest him on live television and walk away untouched. So stick with me, guys. Oh, and drop a 47 in the comments down below if you support President Trump's crackdown, or a yes if you think Gavin Newsom's crossed the line and he should be held
Yes.
accountable. Don't forget to hit the
Yes.
like button, share this video. I really appreciate you guys, because what happens next could literally change the relationship between states and the federal government forever. Now, if you're wondering if chapter is worth it, just know that someone in your shoes already called. Nancy, for example, she left me a comment in a previous video. She said, chapter just saved me $600 a year. I am 78 years old and now paying $1,510 per month for rent. This savings may allow me to stay in my home. God bless you, Nancy. I'm glad you had a positive experience with chapter. Darlene, not just some
That's a
other
man.
political skirmish. This is a moment that we're going to look back on as the day that the lines were drawn. Okay? Because what's happening in Los Angeles right now, it's not just immigration. It's not just about protests. This is about what happens when a state defies a sitting president and the U.S. military rolls in. The Marines, guys, 700 Marines. Okay, so it all began with this routine ICE operation, or at least it was supposed to be routine. Agents were serving some criminal warrants on a business under federal investigation, allegedly funneling millions of dollars in cartel cash. Well, this wasn't about paperwork violations. These were real dangerous suspects, guys. So here's who ICE took down: a registered sex offender with prior convictions, a known gang enforcer tied to armed robbery, and a suspect money launderer sending funds to Colombia and Mexico. And
Why are people surprised at this? And why are people claiming, no, 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 he's sending back children? These are the same people who worshiped statues of George Floyd. The autopsy proved George Floyd was killed by fentanyl. But all people remember is Derek Chauvin's knee on his back. No, it was on his neck. No, it wasn't. It was on his shoulder. They even had video of showing Chauvin from behind. He was not on his neck. George Floyd asked to be put on the ground. George Floyd was coherent enough to resist arrest. Now, yes, they said anything illegal going on, you leave it alone. But George Floyd made it a point to go worse and worse and worse. So the cops had to do something. He was not just some poor black man abused by police. He was a dangerous and violent criminal hyped up on drugs. And why were the police called in the first place? Because he was committing a crime or attempting to. It's all enough.
And yet, what did we get in return? Violence, fires, full-scale riots. The city went from calm to chaos in just hours. Guys, protesters, they started storming the streets of downtown LA. American flags were being set on fire. Self-driving Wemo taxis were getting torched on live TV. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it in California. There's a highway called 101 Freeway. It's a major California artery. It was shut down in both directions. LAPD officers reportedly being struck with bricks, cinder blocks, and unknown liquids. Who knows what kind of liquids those were. The footage was showing these protesters wearing masks and tactical gear, even some of them communicating with radios. So clearly this was coordinated. So it makes you wonder, like, who put this whole thing together? This was clearly deliberate, guys. The LAPD
Yes.
chief, they came out publicly and he said his department was overwhelmed, that without help, they couldn't contain this thing. Federal officers were already under siege and the pressure was clearly mounting at this point. That, my friends, is when President Donald Trump stepped in. Now I want to ask you, ever feel like you're stuck in a rigged game? You know, you start with no tools, you kind of grind through the levels for years, you collect little
Yep.
wins like a pay raise here, maybe a new title, but you're still in the same box. Meanwhile, the bosses at the top, right? These bosses at the top, they're playing a completely different game with cheat codes. This is exactly
Yep.
why I built the Liberty Pursuit Network, guys, to hand the controller back to you. It's time to stop grinding inside of somebody else's system and build your own. So click the link in the pinned comment down below or in the description and join the Liberty Pursuit Network. Escape the 9-to-5 grind and get your freedom back today, guys. So President Trump didn't wait for permission. He didn't ask Gavin Newsom to approve because the situation.
The last time he waited, January 6th happened. They took over a town in Oregon, and everybody kept telling Trump to butt out. But then they still blamed Trump for what was going on, even when he wasn't president. And they didn't start to go after him until he said, yeah, I'm going to run again. and laws were changed to get him. One of the guys who helped to change the laws to get him and were saying how wonderful these laws were that we were getting Trump is now being turned on him, and he says they're unconstitutional. But you gotta get Trump. You gotta get him. I understand Trump isn't perfect. Go look up the paperwork with his big, beautiful plan. I heard it was 1,000 pages long. I was only able to see 13 in PDF form. Most of the stuff I don't understand. There's a line that was doubled, one right after the other, the same exact words, the same exact letters. And then you have all those reforms that he wants to do to welfare. Some of them I agree with, others I'm like, how can you do it? For the food stamps and whatever. Yes, there is a lot of fraud going on. Stop the fraud. No family needs $7,000 a month in food stamps. No one needs to buy shrimp, lobster, filet mignon on food stamps. That's not what food stamps are for. They're working on that you're not going to be able to buy sugar and junk food. Not sugar like for your coffee, I mean like soda. You're not going to be able to buy that. Good. It's like the N word. There are so many other words in the English language and in other languages. Why is that one word so important? There are so many other choices to drink. Now, if you're going to say you're part of the government doing this and you're like, well, people need to drink more juice, go look up a container of orange juice. Even the No Frills brand, the generic brand, very expensive. You're either going to have to make sure those prices are lowered significantly or up people's food stamps. But not to the point where they're getting $7,000 a month. And you're also going to have to regulate stores so they can't say, oh, well, people are getting more money. We should get more money. And boom. It's like the raisin food stamps or the raisin minimum wage doesn't mean anything. Now, yes, I do believe Trump is doing this for his own reasons. He's an egomaniac. Like he said, he wants to be known as, what did he say, the peacekeeper or something? But a lot of the stuff he's doing is good. No one who becomes president of the United States is going to do 100% good all across the board. There will always be something that's wrong or something people don't agree with. But these riots are literally hurting people, even innocent people. Where those war zones are, people cannot go to work. And then what's going to happen if they can't pay their rent? They're going to be evicted. There are so many homeless on the streets of LA. I wonder how many of them have died because of what's going on. Those are Newsom's people. Those are Pelosi's people. And instead of being worried about taking care of your people, you're worried about the president because Orange Man bad. It's enough.
Had already spiraled out of control. And so, using federal authority under Title 10, President Trump ordered the deployment of 700 U.S. Marines from the 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines at 29 Palms just outside of Los Angeles. Let me be very clear about this, guys. These are not riot police. These are not some weekend National Guard reservists. These are combat-tested Marines trained for war. They're now being sent into an American city. Some people are saying that, this is one step away from martial law. You let me know what you think on that. But They're backing up the 2,000 National Guardsmen who were already activated across the city. And President Trump, he didn't blink. He told reporters, look, hey, we got in just in time. You wouldn't have seen a problem like, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time. Then he added this very chilling line. If they spit on our guardsmen, they'll be hit harder than they've ever been hit. Wow, that's a threat if I've ever heard one. But
I don't even know what I was talking about because for some reason my thing was muted. Oh, yeah. I did a video the other day of a black woman who bit a cop because he was arresting her because she was doing something illegal. She turned around and said, after biting the cop and drawing blood, she had AIDS. She did not have AIDS, but what if she did? I say that woman should be knocked out, sedated, and all her teeth pulled. Let her live on baby food, applesauce, and mashed bananas for the rest of her life. Oh, you can't say that because she's a black woman. She was doing something illegal, and then when the cops came, and it was all on body cam, I've seen a lot of black people try to bite cops. I've seen a lot of white people try to bite cops. You bite a cop, your teeth should be removed. I don't care you're black, I don't care you're white. Because when something doesn't go your way, even that you didn't get enough pickles on your hamburger, you call the cops. There are people afraid to go out of their homes and even go into stores because of what's going on. I am an obese woman who just found out how much I weigh. I'm not saying what I weigh, but I am nowhere near what I thought. I want to exercise. I want to lose the weight. I want to get out and go to the store. But I'm actually afraid what might happen to me going out, even in my own neighborhood. And I'm about to be 54 years old. And it's not because of my neighbors, it's because of people coming into this area. In my area of Brooklyn, we had Black Lives Matters protest. We never had things like that, but it was like my area of Brooklyn was put on the map. They flooded in and they destroyed shit. But you can't say black people destroy shit. Well, illegals are destroying shit. It has to stop.
President Trump, he was essentially sending troops into the fire. Gavin Newsom was not backing down. Not at all. Gavin Newsom, he went full defiance mode, this Gavin Newsom guy. Now, I don't know if you like Gavin Newsom. Some of y'all love Gavin Newsom. I know a lot of people don't like him. I don't know where you stand, but I'm not even trying to get into that. But I tell you what he did do. Gavin Newsom, that guy, he filed a lawsuit. He jumped on social media so fast, and then he stood on camera and he shouted out, "Come and get me. Arrest me." I'm surprised he didn't use the MF after that. I'm just saying, he's crazy. Now, you're not going to believe what happened next, and neither did Tom Homan. So we need to talk about Gavin Newsom's lawsuit, this viral meltdown, his accusations of President Trump being an authoritarian, and of course, the moment that Tom Homan fired back. So now the Marines, they're on the move. Federal troops are en route. Protesters are escalating, and all eyes turn to Sacramento, expecting Governor Gavin Newsom to say, what? Thank you for your support. Let's restore peace. Not even close, guys. Instead, Gavin Newsom, he goes full DEFCON 5 on the Trump administration. Instead of addressing the violence in the streets, he aims every ounce of political energy at the President of the United States. Within hours,
There you go. That's what these Democrats and elites do. Gavin Newsom should be given the police full authority to do what they have to do to stop this shit. And he's not. He's more interested in going after Trump. And remember, they all loved Trump when Trump was a Democrat giving them money. And as soon as he stopped and became Republican and actually ran for president to try to fix the damage that he saw was going on by a party he was a part of at one time, fuck the people. It became about him. And it's true what they say. If your hatred for one man is more important than anything and anyone else, you've got the problem. Not him. You do.
of the Marine deployment being confirmed, California files a formal lawsuit suing the Trump administration for what Gavin Newsom calls an illegal invasion of state jurisdiction. You gotta be kidding me. I know, that's what they did though. According to California's Attorney General Rob Bonta, the lawsuit argues this move violates both state sovereignty and the Constitution. That's what they say. That's what they're doing, guys. So the president is bypassing the law, throwing gasoline on a fire for political theater, according to Attorney General Rob Bonta from California. So Trump is not sending help. He's sending a message. And it's one of fear, it's one of intimidation and federal overreach, according to Gavin Newsom. Those are not my words. Those are Gavin Newsom's words. But what law exactly are they contesting, right? Like President Trump, he authorized this deployment using Title 10 of the U.S. Code, which
Whatever law they're going to make up in their heads, say it's a true law, and then they're going to fight to get it made into a law and say, look, it's a law. He broke the law again. My friend in Jersey keeps saying, well, Trump is a felon. He was found guilty of all this stuff. But she doesn't want to acknowledge that laws were changed in order to get him. And for a long time, those laws were used on no one else but him. Now that they're starting to be used on someone else, there's someone else is saying that's unconstitutional. And she don't say anything about it because she hates Trump. It's enough. I'm not here trying to say Trump is amazing, wonderful, perfect. No. But look what happened with Elon Musk. Elon Musk wanted Trump to make it a mandate for everyone to have electric vehicles. Why? Because him and his company would make money. And when Trump said, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to let people buy what they want and use what they want, that's when he came out with Trump is in the Epstein files, and that's why they're not coming out to protect Trump. Okay, let's say that's true. Why did Elon Musk wait so long to bring that out? He's supposed to be there to help Trump, to help the American people. That's the main goal, help the American people. You kept it a secret because of what you wanted. In my eyes, if he is in those files as doing something with kids and underage girls and blah, 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 you are just as guilty as he is, and you both should face the consequences. And if this was true, Elon Musk, how dare you allow your child near him? You put your child in harm's way, that beautiful little boy, so you could get electric vehicles mandated that people must have them, so you could make more money. Why don't you go back to your own fucking planet, Elon Musk? Elon Musk has more money than he even knows what to do with. What does he need more for? Why isn't he having his scientists come up with a way to get him back to his own planet? No, I am not talking crazy. That motherfucker thinks he's an alien from outer space. But Orange Man bad. Yeah, Trump has an ego and he's doing a lot of shit to boost his ego. But most of that shit helps the American people, so why not? And what he's doing is not illegal. Look at January 6th. They claim Trump did nothing but egg on those rioters, even though video came out. They were being escorted in on orders of the national police that were there, and they got their orders from Nancy Pelosi, who even admitted on a video her daughter took, and it got leaked. It was her fault, that's on her. He asked the mayor of Washington, a Democratic black woman back then, look, the National Guard is here. Let me send them in. He left it up to her. They said no, what happened, and they blamed him anyway. And they even said Trump did not send in the National Guard. So now he's not asking them, do you want this? He's just trying to protect the American citizens, protect the people, and he's still in the wrong because he's going against the wishes of people like Gavin Newsom. People need to sit down, shut up, listen, really listen, and look, really look at what's going on. Don't listen to the mainstream media, just look. And if you're still delusional, you're part of the problem.
Which gives the president the authority to use military forces to enforce federal law, particularly in cases where state leadership refuses to act. Now, it's been used before in the civil rights era to enforce desegregation laws when state leaders stood in the way. The difference, though, Gavin Newsom is saying that there is no rebellion here, just protest. Trump is saying the rebellion already started, and it's being fueled by Gavin Newsom himself. Now, I don't know what you call rebellion, guys, but when you see, bricks and liquids and all sorts of other items getting thrown at police officers, what do you call that? Can I get a yes or no? Is that rebellion? Anyway, so the American public caught in the crossfire of lawsuits.
It's worse than rebellion. It is an act of war. You're destroying American property, property that's owned by Americans, or it's supposed to be, who knows? The Democrats and everyone else has allowed China to buy most of America. And again, when Obama borrowed $3 trillion or whatever it was from China, what did he have to use as collateral? Whenever you take a loan, you have to have collateral. Did he use his own personal finances? Did he use his own home? No. And what happens when China decides they want to call that loan in? Do you remember when COVID started, what the Democrats were doing? They were dancing, they were having parties. And I haven't heard of not one Democrat government official, mayor, senator, whatever, dying from COVID. But Andrew Cuomo, who was governor of New York at the time, sent senior citizens who were vulnerable to this virus back into the homes where they could catch the virus and die. What happened to their Social Security money? It went right back into the piggy banks of the Democrats and the elites. They get to use that money that the senior citizens would have had for whatever they want. And thanks to Trump coming up with Doge and the work that Elon Musk has done, we see where that was going. It wasn't going to help the American people. The American people didn't even have a say in where that money went. And it's the American people's money, their tax money, that the government keeps raising, taking money from them, making them, us, all of us, poor and everyone else rich. But all they're doing is blaming Trump and saying Trump is doing this. If he is, he's not doing anything different than anyone else has ever done and continues to do. So why just get Trump? Why not get them all? Why not get them all?
Lawsuits, and more lawsuits, while buildings are burning, flags are torched, and innocent people get hurt in the streets of Los Angeles. It's crazy, right? But that still wasn't even the peak. No, what really grabbed the headlines wasn't filed in a courtroom. It was actually shouted on camera. In what might be probably the most reckless moment of his political career, Governor Gavin Newsom of California, he appeared on camera staring down the federal government and mocking the idea that he could be held accountable. He said, and I quote, "Come and get me, tough guy. You want to arrest me? Do it, but you better shoot straight." Hey,
And these are words being put out on social media, on TV, and that's going to trigger a ton of people to do things they shouldn't do instead of trying to do stuff the legal way. And why is Gavin Newsom only doing one thing the legal way? Why? Think about it. Because all the things he's doing the illegal way, makes Trump look bad, and people are getting pissed and triggered, and this is what's going on. It's Gavin Newsom's job to help the people of his county, town, LA, whatever it is, and he's not doing it. He's allowing them to get hurt. And what's happening to his pockets? They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, just like his own ego is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But people are only worried about Trump's ego. That doesn't seem strange to anyone.
Then, just to make sure that the media didn't miss it, he posted the clip across his social media accounts with this caption saying, "Trump is threatening to arrest a sitting governor for speaking out. This is a day I hoped I'd never see in America." What is this guy doing?
He's trying to make people think Trump is just being a bully. That's not what's happening. When Trump was president the first time, he was a novice. He didn't really know what he could and could not do, and the people surrounding him were against him. When the bird flu first came in, when Obama was president, they didn't shut down America and shut down the economy. They didn't do it. The Zika virus, they didn't shut down the entire country. All these other viruses, the country was not shut down. But when Trump was first president, his greatest achievement was the economy. They told him you had to shut it down to help the American people. So he did it to help the American people. And what happened? They turned that on him too. How come they get to use all of us as pawns against Trump? And a ton of us are like, yeah, 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 get Trump, get Trump. Meanwhile, we're the ones being sacrificed. Trump learned while he wasn't president, while he was running for president, the things he would and would not be able to do. He learned. They don't like that. How many assassination attempts has there been on him that have links to the Democrat Party? Just about every single one. Now, the Democrats were afraid Trump was going to go after them all and have them arrested. He hasn't done so yet. He's doing things that he thinks are good for the American people, but he should be having these people arrested. And another thing, they're going to start sending robots into the streets to deliver Amazon packages. Did you see what these androids look like? Look at their eyes and then look at Joe Biden's eyes. Look at the way Joe Biden walked. Look at the way these robots walk. Yeah, this seems far fetched, but they're using robots and AI to take over everything, even cooking fast food. That's going to take jobs away from the American people. What are they supposed to do? They're going to have to rely on the government for money. And the second they do something the government doesn't like, the government will take their lives away. The government has already done stuff like that under the Biden administration and even with Kamala Harris. Educate yourselves, people. Don't just rely on mainstream media. And it is scary finding out all this shit. But the more you know, the more you can see it coming, and maybe you can prepare for it.
Right? Gavin Newsom wasn't just defying the president. He's framing himself as the victim. Please tell me you see this. If you do, just let me know, guys. He's
Yes.
claiming that troop deployments, riot control, immigration enforcement are nothing more than a power grab by Trump to silence dissent. He called it a line that cannot be crossed. He compared it to authoritarian regimes, and of course, the legacy media immediately swooned in. CNN, of course, Newsom stands tall in the face of tyranny. MSNBC said a modern day resistance. Here's the problem, guys. That resistance, it's unfolding while Marines are being attacked. Federal buildings are being surrounded and ICE agents are literally calling for backup. And while Gavin Newsom's talking about lines being crossed, there are actual laws being broken on the streets below him. And that's where
Yep.
Tom Homan steps in. No grandstanding, no social media drama, just one of the most experienced law enforcement officials in the country stepping up to say, hey, governor, or not, if you cross the line, you're not above the law. So I want to show you what Tom Homan said in response to Gavin Newsom's dare, why he's not ruling out prosecution and just throwing his butt in jail, and how the Trump administration is using this moment to expose decades of Democrat lies about ICE, law enforcement, and national security. Now, if you guys are just now joining the live, please do me a quick favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. So Gavin Newsom shouts, come and get me. He files a lawsuit. He calls the Marines some illegal invasion. But while Gavin Newsom plays political victim, Tom Homan, he ain't playing games. He's just not. Now, if you want to know who Tom Homan is, let me go ahead and cue you in right quick, all right? Tom Homan, former acting director of ICE, 33 years in federal law enforcement. The guy personally led deportation operations under the Trump administration. And when reporters asked him if Newsom or LA's Mayor Karen Bass could be arrested for interfering in federal law enforcement operations, he didn't hesitate. Nobody is above the law. If you aid or abet illegal activity, if I don't care if you're a protester or a politician, you can and should be prosecuted. I think that's pretty clear. Tom Homan explained that
Yes.
harboring illegal aliens, obstructing ICE, or refusing to cooperate with federal arrests, they're not just moral debates, they're felonies. I didn't write the law. And while he clarified,
My friend in Jersey said that, remember, some Democrats started trouble at an ICE detention facility? She said no, no, the main guy, who was a Democrat mayor or something, just chose the wrong day to go and inspect the facility to make sure the people were being handled properly. She's delusional because she believes that. Why were the others there? Why were the ICE officers getting hit by these Democrat Congress people? Why did that mayor or whoever he was choose that specific day to go? Make no mistake, it was a setup. But my friend in Jersey follows the mainstream media mostly. And she despises Trump. So everything the mainstream media says, she basically laps up. She has come around on some things because she's now seeing them. But it took her years, and there was even one time she said to me, "Well, Ellie, you're not as smart as I am." Now she will swear up and down, fight me, break up our friendship, claiming she never said that. But she did. Meanwhile, everything I told her over the years, she claims she now sees as the truth. It's out there. But the more stuff I say, she's just willing to follow the status quo and say, oh, no, 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 that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. It's true. I said something about Elon Musk, and she wanted to call me up to talk to me about it, basically to show me the error of my ways. I posted some things on Facebook. She brought up Trump's big, beautiful plan. And the more I said to her, I can't speak on that, which, by the way, had nothing to do with what I was posting. I kept telling her I can't speak on something I know nothing about. That's what she kept talking to me about. So I had to literally go look it up. And yes, I found a lot wrong with it. That's when she got happy because I found something wrong with what Trump was doing. Now, if she ever hears this video, she'll tell me, no, Ellie, you're wrong. No, I'm not wrong. The proof is still on Facebook. I never said anything about his big, beautiful deal or whatever it's called because I knew nothing about it. I had heard a couple of things like he wants to abolish taxes on tips, abolish taxes on senior citizens because they already paid taxes their whole life and the Social Security money was taken out as a tax. They shouldn't have to be taxed more on it. I also heard that this plan has something to do with property tax. If people outright buy their land, their property, they shouldn't be paying taxes on it for the rest of their life. And I heard there were going to be reforms to the food stamp um, program. And I heard very little about that. But when I found the PDF file and I read some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff I didn't understand. Like there's a government, I forget what it's called now, a government program or something. It was set up in 1933 and its initials are CCC, commodity something, something like that. So in the 13 pages I read, there is something wrong, and she got happy because I agreed there was something wrong with it. She was satisfied. But I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the stuff with him and Elon Musk. She brought up something else to say Orange Man bad. But she's not crazy with this stuff. No, I am, and I'm not as smart as her. That's how a lot of people are, and it's not right. And they will fight people who've actually seen the truth, and they will push them down until the people just give in. I remember telling her one time, I saw Trump do a live speech while he was president. And then I saw something on YouTube. It was like a little clip, it was by NBC. There's a guy on it that looks like the cartoon character Arthur. He has those little black round glasses. And what he said Trump said was not what Trump said. I saw the speech live. When she called me to talk to me about that stuff, I said to her, I saw the live video. That guy is lying. Really? I saw the live video, or whatever you want to call it, the live stream. What's his name? Holzer? He twisted everything into an out and out lie that was never said. But it seems like she prefers to believe the lies because they go against Trump and Orange Man bad. And who put Orange Man bad into people's heads? The Democrats, the schools, the media that's bought and paid for by the Democrats and the elites. We may never recover because of what they did. And the more you say the truth, the more they try to shut you up. I started off with a channel that I had since 2016 because of the black people I was dealing with. They flagged my channel and took it away because they didn't like the stuff I was saying. Then I came back with a second channel. Again, they flagged me because they didn't like what I was saying. I was white. They didn't want me around. Came back with a third channel. The third channel they flagged, took away because I called a black guy a black MFer on someone else's panel, on someone else's channel, because he came in and literally started saying I needed a man. Now, he had done stuff to me all these years. I have to hear it, I have to see it. I have to be careful what chats I go into because he will start with me. It will trigger me and I say something. Now, I understand that's my choice, but it's also his choice. And the guy's channel that I said this on, nothing happened to. The channel is still up. Nothing happened to him. But I was silenced for 3 months. I am still getting death threats, literally, by a woman who's crazy in the head, part of the LGBTQ community, black, and she put up a video on her wall of a hog that was tied up and shot in the head and said the hog was me and that's what I need done to me. She has literally done things like that over the years because I didn't take her side on something. And like my friend in Jersey, she would call me up and tell me I couldn't say what I was saying in my videos, that she wanted me to take them down. That woman also wanted to convert me into lesbianism, telling me more than once she loved converting heterosexual women to become lesbians. She got a big old kick out of it. She also said when she met up with her birth mother, she bet the crap out of her to the point where the woman was almost dead. And I'm quoting what this black lesbian woman said. When she was doing that and she saw the state of her biological mother, I'm quoting her, she got a jump off in her pussy. But yet I'm the one who's silenced because I'm white. This woman has put out my pictures because she was so aggressive with constantly saying, "We gotta meet up, we gotta hang out, we gotta this." And I kept trying to tell her no. I'm at the point right now, I don't want to meet anyone online because of her. And yet there are two women that I like who want to meet up with me. And even though I like them, I don't want to meet up with them because of what this woman did and continues to do. But this is how the world is when you say the truth. They want to shut you up. This crazy lesbian woman also put out a phone number she swore up and down was my phone number because it had a 718 area code. She claims I'm stalking her. I haven't had a 718 area code since like 2006 or 2009. And I only started talking to this woman 2 to 4 years ago. But she's still allowed to go on threatening to rape people, kill people, trying to dox them. Nothing happens, sir. It's allowed. Why? Because this YouTube platform is part of the elites and part of the Democrats. This is what they do. They try to shut you up when you're speaking the truth. You're hearing it in this video and in other videos. How the hell does this make sense to people that all this is still going on and it's getting worse? Let's continue with the video.
Clarified that there is no current order to arrest Gavin Newsom. He did make it clear, if Newsom or Bass crossed the line, if they interfered with federal operations, they can be prosecuted, period. And let's
And they
talk about
have,
what's
so now
really being
get them.
ignored here. While Newsom throws lawsuits and tantrums, ICE was out there making the streets safer. That's what the media will not tell you. So this whole operation that sparked these riots, it wasn't some random roundup, guys. ICE was serving criminal warrants as a part of a larger investigation into cartel finance money laundering. And the results, well, one registered sex offender with a history of child abuse captured, one armed robbery suspect linked to cartel enforcement taken down, several confirmed gang members and human trafficking suspects now off the streets. These weren't.
And these were people the Democrats and the elites kept welcoming into the country, saying, "Come, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. And all we want in return is your vote." They even tried to change laws that would allow these illegals to vote for them, requiring an ID to vote. They even used black people, which black people are the biggest pawns they can use because white people are afraid of being considered racist. I've been called a racist. I know damn well I am not. Fuck everyone who thinks I am. That black lesbian bitch says I'm racist because I don't believe in reparations. I feel like that's blood money. The Irish slaves were treated worse than the black slaves here in America. I am part Irish, which means I'm entitled to reparations like the blacks are. But I feel like that's blood money. I didn't go through that stuff. Now, if the government makes a law and just gives out the money, I will not give it back. If that makes me a hypocrite, so be it. But I'm not going to fight for the money. Now, there was a town in California who gave every black person $1 million as reparations. You don't think those black people were part of riots too, even after getting reparations? Feeling they deserved more just because they were black, because the Democrats and the elites were using them as pawns, telling them things to trigger them? I'm not afraid of being called racist, but I will defend myself against that because I'm not. I don't want to hear about systemic racism and whatever. I don't. That's bullshit. Racism is judging someone solely by the color of their skin, their race, not finding out what kind of person they are, not judging them on their character. It's just judging by the color of their skin, their race. The Democrats and the elites have twisted that into so many different things that black people are now hunting white people, where specifically one who's been going viral, a black woman, she doesn't want cash reparations. She wants white blood spilled. She wants white people killed. This is the dems and the elites using black people as pawns, and black people still fall for the shit. The Democrats did all this bad shit to black people, starting, I believe. I actually wonder. The start of slavery here in America was by a black man named Anthony Hamilton, who went to court to get permission to own a slave. I wonder if the judge who approved that was Democrat, because Democrats made the KKK, again, trying to mess over black people. They convinced black people when there was Black Wall Street and all that, and they were doing good, to merge the money, which actually hurt black people. Democrats came up with the Jim Crow laws and segregation and all this stuff, and then turned around and told black people, no, segregation is wrong. Who do you think killed Martin Luther King? The Democrats and the elites. Who killed some of the Kennedys? The Democrats and the elites. Who tried to assassinate Trump? The Democrats and the elites. And they're using us as pawns. But publicly, they're mostly using, excuse me, black people, and black people are falling for it. It is a form of brainwashing. They use all of us as pawns against each other while they sit on top of our money like it's their money. It's still going on, problems are still going on. They are the ones mostly responsible for these riots. Who started Black Lives Matter? The Democrats, in the beginning, their website showed you the donations were going to the Democratic Party. Once people started getting wise to that and passing around the website showing that, that's when the website changed. It's enough, people. If white people are so racist, and I know this sounds stupid to say, how can they have white friends? How can they like black music? How can they like black actors and their work? How? You're judging people by their race. You think they're disgusting to look at because they're black. That's how racist you are, but yet that's not how you act. Even Archie Bunker said a bunch of stuff, but he never tried to hurt any black people. Yeah, he was gonna join the KKK at one point, but he didn't realize it was the KKK. And when he did realize it, he backed away. He didn't want anything to do with it. But yet they say Archie Bunker was one of the most racist characters on television. Well, so was George Jefferson, but George Jefferson is not put down as much as Archie Bunker. Why? Archie Bunker was white. How did Archie Bunker treat the Jeffersons? At first, standoffish. And yeah, there was a rivalry between him and George Jefferson for a while, which they both enjoyed. But Archie Bunker really did care about their son Lionel. There was an episode where Louise Jefferson came back after moving on up to the east side, which again was mostly a white area. And even them moving to Queens, they moved into a white area out of the black ghetto. He gets more praise than Archie Bunker. Meanwhile, he's the exact same thing as Archie Bunker. It's just for black people. And when Louise Jefferson came back to ask Edith to show their house because it was ready to be sold, Archie at first was like, "Who is that? Who I think it is?" And like he was mad about it. But once he got in front of her, he was so happy to see her. If he was truly racist, why was he happy to see her? She wasn't light skinned because he really wasn't racist. He had the wrong way of thinking at times, but he truly was not racist. When that house was sold to Polly and Ed, a black couple, he didn't like it at first, but he did evolve. And that's what people don't get about that. People have to evolve. What the Democrats are doing, they're devolving people in order to create this chaos so they can just steal more money from people and get away with it. No one is rioting at Congress for doing the bullshit they've done for decades. But they're rioting in the streets, hurting poor people. And here's another thing about the All in the Family TV show. When Edith died, Archie was trying to get a housekeeper. Polly, the black next door neighbor, said, "Look, my sister in law, Ellen Canby, is looking for a job." Archie immediately wanted her. He didn't have to interview her. That was Ed's sister. Ed was jet black. Chances are his sister was jet black. And he trusted Polly, a black woman, so much, and Ed, a black man, so much. He trusted that black couple so much, he was willing to hire Ellen Canby sight unseen. Then, when he actually did like the interview process with her, he was trying to be accommodating to her. Now, he did say to her, "Well, you people are cut out for this work." She immediately took it to the racial issue. But that's not what he meant. It was a sexist issue. He felt a woman's place was in the home, taking care of the kids and the family, and she was a woman. So when she started naming all those stereotypical black foods, and that, well, if she wanted them, could she get them? He's like, "Sure." He wasn't being racist. He thought she was actually asking for those things, but she twisted it into something it wasn't. And all through that series, and even Archie Bunker's Place, you see him evolve. But nobody wants people to evolve. These people who are running the country, basically, and I'm not talking about Trump, there are people behind the scenes doing shit that are starting to be exposed, but they're not fully exposed, and they probably never will be fully exposed and never really pay for the crimes they've committed against the American people because of all this twisting. Who put an end to slavery? White people. But that doesn't matter. The French put an end to it so long ago. Than the Europeans. Took us a lot longer, and I'm wondering if most of the slave owners weren't Democrats. Because the average Joe Schmo couldn't afford a slave. Nobody's even thinking of this. And who do these riots go after and hurt the most? The average Joe Schmo. It's not affecting the Dems. It's not affecting the elites. It's not affecting Soros, who has a lot to do with behind the scenes, who actually worked for Hitler. But yet they were saying Trump was being Hitler. Nobody is connecting the dots. They're doing whatever the fuck they want to get whatever they want, and they don't care who they hurt to do it. But then when it backfires and hurts them, they want to go, "Wah, wah, wah, racism. Wah, 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 elitism. Wah, 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 wah." You see everything happening here, and people are still willing to turn a blind eye. People really do need to wake up.
Families being torn apart. These were predators, felons, and criminal assets being removed from the community. Or how about criminal liabilities? Yeah, That's more like it. So what did Gavin Newsom do? Well, of course, he accused ICE of being fascists, called their arrests inhumane. He also accused the Marines of acting like stormtroopers. It's kind of a funny movie back in the day. I don't know if anybody happened to see that movie back in the day. Anyway, meanwhile, you got law enforcement, being physically attacked, federal buildings breached, riots lighting up every corner of downtown Los Angeles. And so this is why Trump sent in the Marines. This is why Tom Homan spoke up, guys, because if this administration stood by and did nothing, cities would burn. You remember what Tim Walz did in his hometown, right? Cities would burn, ICE agents would be lynched in the media, and no one would be held accountable. But not under President Trump. So Tom Homan's response was more than a press quote. It was a legal warning shot. And whether or not Gavin Newsom ever gets handcuffed, well, that remains to be seen. But I think the message from Washington, D.C. is now loud and clear. You interfere with law enforcement, you cross the line, you get held accountable, whether you're wearing a mask or you're holding a governor's title or not. But of course, none of this is going unanswered. Kamala Harris, Karen Bass, even AOC and Ilhan Omar. You know what they're doing, right? They're all calling this a soft coup, an authoritarian takeover. And some on the left are even floating impeachment talk. Again, okay? So do you think Trump should be impeached? Or do you think Ilhan Omar should be impeached? Or maybe Gavin Newsom? Or how about LA Mayor Karen Bass should be impeached? Who do you think should be impeached?
Trump has already been impeached how many times? Now, my friend in Jersey has said, do you know what the American people would do if Trump was actually thrown in prison? What? The same thing that's happening now? So what? It's okay that this stuff is happening now because it goes against Trump. But if it was going on to defend Trump, there's a problem. I'm just saying what I'm seeing and I'm hearing. And I guarantee you, if my friend ever hears this video, she will call me and yell at me and break up the friendship like I'm a piece of shit. Meanwhile, what has she done? We were talking about her coming here, excuse me, for a visit. Her husband was supposed to go on like a week long hunting trip, and she was talking about how she wanted to come stay here. She wanted to come, I'm sorry, finally meet me. She knew about my weight, my political views, everything. And she liked me. She wanted to come. She was going to stay in my mother's bed. We were going to watch movies, listen to music, talk, just have like a girls' week. She said she wasn't even going to come for an hour visit unless I got the COVID shot. And I told her at the time I really didn't want to do it because of all the stuff I was hearing. I have enough medical problems. I'm considered to be high risk even with getting COVID. Even with getting the COVID shot, I didn't want to risk it. That's how lonely I was. I wanted a friend to come over, just hang out and talk. So I agreed. I got the COVID shot. She never came. And she kept saying she was so proud she got me to take the COVID shot. I got COVID twice. The vaccine does not work. Even though she says, well, you might have had COVID worse if not for the vaccine. Well, the vaccine is causing heart problems, neurological disorders, messing up reproductive systems. Not that I'm going to have another kid. And yes, I fell for that bullshit. It was my choice. But why did she have to say that? because she's a Democrat and she wanted to make sure the Democrats' agenda was pushed forward. And it seems like really the only time she calls and talks to me is when I put out political shit she doesn't agree with. She loves Elon Musk. But she even said to me, I'm gonna call you tomorrow and talk to you about Elon Musk. Because she didn't like me saying what he did was wrong, which it was wrong. But Orange Man bad, so she was gonna call me up, talk to me so I'd shut up. And if she ever gets a hold of this video, she will call me up. She said something once that I thought was just her mouthing off. When I told her later on how triggered she got, like other people were triggered, she broke up the friendship and said she never said it, which is what Democrats do. I'm sorry, this is what people do, and it's wrong because they are brainwashed. They could see something live happening in front of them, but then the brainwashing starts and they go along with the brainwashing. That's what these Democrats are doing now. They are using social media to get to the masses to trigger them. Orange man bad. What Trump is doing right now, sending in the Marines, talking about sending in the Army, arresting these people who have done heinous crimes, he should be doing. But all they say, oh, what about Trump? They changed laws to get him. What he did, they all did. But he's a convicted felon and they're not, and there's proof they did the same thing. Everything they did, they said Trump was gonna do, and Trump did it already. Meanwhile, you can see he hasn't done a fraction of the shit they claim he has done. Now I'm no Trump fan, but I do see what's going on. Let's continue with the video.
But the left, they're going ballistic, guys. They're accusing Trump of the wildest things. They're accusing
Yep,
Trump of doing exactly what they hoped that he would do, crack down
yep.
hard. Almost immediately, guys, top Democrats, they rushed to the cameras. Kamala Harris, it's like, where's she been, right? So Kamala Harris came out the woodworks, called the deployment of troops an undeniable act of authoritarianism, and then
Nope.
she word salad souped us. Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, she said that the president has no right to override local authority. He is not restoring order. He is seizing control. And of course, you already know what Gavin Newsom said. This is a step toward authoritarianism. This is no rebellion. No justification, just raw political theater. No rebellion? I want you to tell that to the LAPD officers who were hospitalized after getting bricks thrown at their heads, okay? Tell that to the ICE agents who were surrounded and attacked while serving felony warrants. Tell that to the business owners who watched their stores burn to the ground while politicians gave press conferences. They're not calling for peace, guys. They're calling for Trump to stand down, and they're doing it in front of the TV cameras while the streets are still on fire. If this is ringing true to you guys right now, please share this video because they're not trying to tell you the truth on mainstream media news networks. Guys, the phrase they keep repeating, you probably heard this isn't law and order, this is martial law in disguise. And it's not just Gavin Newsom saying this. The same crowd that cheered BLM riots in 2020 is now screaming that Marines walking past the graffiti-covered buildings means we're suddenly a dictatorship. So maybe if they took a moment to stop lighting stuff on fire, they'd probably realize, hey, this is what happens when you ignore the law long enough. It eventually shows up in uniform. So now, let's talk to Trump, right? Because you know he wasn't just going to stay quiet, right? Trump is not going to do that. And why should he? When reporters asked him if he'd consider backing off after the lawsuit, President Donald J. Trump looked straight into the camera and said, if they spit on our National Guardsmen, they will be hit harder than they've ever been hit. It's lucky for the people of California that we got in when we did. He added that Gavin Newsom should be thankful, not suing, that without federal response, Los Angeles would have collapsed into anarchy. And then he said this, I almost feel like Gavin Newsom is like the child, and you let the child do his own thing, you try to leave him be, but then if he gets out of control, then the parent has to step in the room and kind of regain order. I feel like that's Trump. Trump is the parent, and Gavin Newsom is like the child. Does anybody agree with me in that analogy?
Yes.
Anyway, so Trump, he said this, we're not going to let violent mobs burn cities and attack our law enforcement officers just because politicians are too weak or too politically afraid to act. Okay. And that's the line right there, guys.
It's not even that they're too politically afraid to act. They're getting paid to do this and they want more money, and they're also addicted to power and they want more power. And they're being given both the more this is going on. The more they go after Trump, the more they screw over the American people. It's happening.
Because this moment, it's not about who's right. It's about who has the spine to do what's right. Who's got the balls? Trump sent the troops, Holman sent the warning, and Newsom filed a lawsuit and filmed the dare. So the question becomes, who's really acting like the adult in the room? But don't go anywhere, guys, because of course we need to talk about the whole public opinion swinging wildly, and of course the arrest Newsom trend is exploding. Polling is now showing that Americans are picking sides real fast. Some people are getting on Gavin Newsom's side. Some people are getting on Trump's side. Some people are getting on, getting behind Kamala Harris and LA Mayor Karen Bass. Whose side are you on, guys? Oh, and the media, caught in the middle, desperately trying to control the narrative, but they're failing to contain the backlash. Hey, I want you guys to look down in the comments and see what other people are saying. Look what people are saying. That's the truth right there, guys. So while politicians are playing their games, while Newsom shares or dares Trump to come and get him and arrest him, and while the media tries to spin this thing into some dystopian power grab, the American people, well, they've made themselves loud and clear. Almost instantly after Gavin Newsom's coming Get Me challenge hit the airwaves, a hashtag exploded across social media platforms like wildfire. Hashtag arrest Newsom. Thousands of posts, millions of views, trending, top 3 nationwide. He dared the sitting president to come and arrest him. If that's not incitement, then what is, right? So wait, we're supposed to just let governors shelter criminals, attack ICE, block law enforcement, and say, oh well, we've had enough, guys. Arrest Gavin Newsom. He's gone too far. Can I get an arrest Gavin Newsom in the comments? And it wasn't just tweets and Telegram groups. People were calling into radio shows. Comment sections flooded. Local protests even began outside of Gavin Newsom's office, not from the left, but from the fed up Californians, the actual residents of California. Guys, they're tired of the double standards. They're tired of politicians acting like celebrities while their cities are burning. They're tired of leaders who defend violent mobs more than they defend their own law enforcement. Now, I want you to think about this, right? Think about this for a second, right? How many mayors and governors over the past 5 years have actively told ICE agents to stand down? How many have declared their cities sanctuaries for people actively breaking federal law? Now, I want you to think about some cities, that come to mind. Chicago, New York City, obviously Los Angeles. There are many more. But now, when the consequences catch up to them, they cry tyranny. When the federal government steps in, America sees it, and America's calling the BS. Now, I want to talk about this whole media reaction, because this has become essentially textbook case for narrative collapse, guys. CNN spent 2 full segments comparing Trump to authoritarian leaders. MSNBC had analysts warning of a constitutional crisis, and yet, they never aired the body cam footage of officers being ambushed. They never showed ICE's list of criminal arrests, the gang members, the sex offenders, the cartel mules. They sure didn't show you video of American flags burning in the streets of LA while protesters screamed F America. They didn't do none of that. They're too busy crying about optics, about uniforms, about Trump acting too fast. So here's what the media doesn't want to talk about. New polling numbers just dropped, and they're brutal. Trump's approval rating jumps 6 points overnight in California. Support for use of federal troops to stop riots at 71% nationwide. Among independents, 62% say Newsom went too far with this arrest there. So, you know what that means, right? The same people who stayed silent when cities were burning, the same voters who let it slide when politicians mocked ICE, the same independents who said, oh, I just want peace. They're done waiting. They're backing Trump. They're backing the Marines. They're backing law and order. Ladies and gentlemen, what are you backing? Let me know. Of course, I cannot forget to talk to you guys about what could possibly bring more Marines to be deployed across other cities. Will Trump invoke this
I
Insurrection
hope
Act?
so.
And is Gavin Newsom positioning himself for a 2028 runoff in this whole chaos? Oh, of course,
Probably.
the Democrat establishment about to get split over how far is too far. Guys, so I gotta ask you, where do we go from here, right? I mean, we got Marines deployed inside of a U.S. city. We got a governor suing the commander-in-chief. We have media meltdown in full swing. The American public is waking up real fast, right? Sources inside the Pentagon say another 500 Marines from Southern California are already on standby, fully equipped, prepared to move if needed. And depending upon how this plays out, guys, we may see similar deployments in other hotspots like Portland, Chicago, even New York City, where ICE agents are already reporting rising tensions around immigration arrests. How many months has President Trump been president? Look at what's happening here in America, guys. Is it time to get out of America? Bottom line, this is no longer a California-only crisis. It's nationwide, guys. This is
Yes.
national now. Now, I want you to look. Look at this, right? You got President Trump. He's already deployed forces under Title 10. But if this spirals further, if Democrat governors keep obstructing federal law, the Insurrection Act becomes a real possibility. I'm just calling it what it is. And by the way, if you guys are just now joining live with me, please take a second, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. That would give Trump even broader powers to suppress rebellion, protect federal assets, and even bypass state resistance legally and constitutionally. I mean, he hasn't said the word yet, but with the rhetoric from Gavin Newsom and the violence on the ground, I think the door is wide open. So let's talk strategy here. They're not talking about this, okay? They're not going to talk about this on TV. Let's talk strategy, folks. Some insiders believe Gavin Newsom's doing all of this, the lawsuit, the posturing, the arrest me theatrics, not to save California, but to build his national image as the new anti-Trump icon for 2028.
Probably.
Think about it. He's trying to play the victim, the martyr, the voice of the resistance, right? But here's the problem. It's backfiring because while he's grandstanding in front of the cameras, you got real California. They're watching their streets fall apart right now. And they're not applauding for this guy. They're asking, where were you when we needed protection? Why did it take federal troops that Trump deployed to restore order? And you're already seeing it, guys. Moderate Dems, they're terrified of the defund ICE, defund the police base. But they know deep down, most Americans, they want order, not anarchy. And Gavin Newsom's gamble, it may just tear their Democratic Party apart. Look, AOC, Elon Omar, Karen Bass, they're all doubling down on rhetoric, but other Democrats, they're staying silent because they don't want to go down with the ship. This is like the Titanic, and the guys with the instruments, the musicians, they're out on the perimeter of the ship and they're all playing. I'm just saying, we're watching a battle unfold.
And the Titanic may not have been accidental. There were a lot of banking people on the Titanic. There's one person who was scheduled to be on the Titanic, but they didn't go on the Titanic. And they are now the major bank here in America. Chase. But the other banking leaders, banking heads, were on the Titanic, a bunch of them. Go look it up.
Here, guys, a battle between law and chaos, a battle between federal accountability and political theater, a battle between leaders who protect this country and leaders who protect their careers. President Trump sent in the Marines, guys. Tom Homan fired the warning shot. Tom Homan, guys, he fired the warning shot. The American people are rallying behind law and order like never before. And Gavin Newsom, he wanted to make a scene, which he did. He wanted to be the story, which he is. Well, guess what? He is all of those things. And now we're watching to see if the story ends with handcuffs or headlines. So, guys, drop me a 47 in the comments if you stand with President Trump, with our troops, and with the rule of law. Drop a yes
47.
if you believe Gavin Newsom crossed the line and should face
Yes.
consequences. Maybe it be jail time, a fine, maybe he has to step down, impeachment. And hit the like button if you're tired of being lied to, tired of the games, and you're ready for America to get its spine back. This is not just politics anymore, guys. This is
Yes.
history, and you're living it. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, share this video, please. We'll see you guys next time.
There you go.